All right, morning everyone. Hope everyone's good. I still don't dig this double early morning shit. Been up since bloody 5 o'clock, and at the moment I just cannot sleep come love nor bloody money. I think some of it is definitely down to the temperature. I really don't like sleeping in the heat. I think I'd rather go in a room that is ice cold and sleep in there instead of sleeping in a bloody hot room when you got two decent fans on in there and it is still feeling no colder. Really cannot stand it. I mean, it's all nice when you go abroad and everything. You got the heat, you can breathe, everything else. Over it feels like someone's parked a bloody bus on your chest. So again, just sitting there reading for a bit of news. And do you know what? Bollocks to it. I might as well just do a show. So here I am. So anyway, I hope everyone had a better night than I did, which wouldn't exactly be hard. Just been scrimping and scraping and looking about for the news and everything. And again, not really much news apart from stuff we do really know, should I say, that we know is going on. It's just the question is, how far will it go? I mean, I've read on a couple of things this morning that we're willing to put, that we're meant to have put in the first bid for Eze, and it got turned down, which was something on the lines of 50 million plus 8 million in here, there, and everywhere. Again, this is just what I read. And that we're meant to be going for the second bid. So I suppose that's a positive thing you can look at. I read with Savinho this morning that they're meant to be forcing to try and make the transfer happen. He's meant to be really, really keen on it. I mean, the question is, do we get both? Do we get either? I suppose time will tell with that. I mean, the reason Savinho being very interested in it, World Cup year in it, and he wants to get consistent football. Because he knows he comes into Spurs and he basically walks into that first team, doesn't he? And then probably use us as a stepping stone, do good with us, and then go to a big club again. You know what? If that's what he does, fair play. I can't say I actually care on that aspect. As long as he comes to us and he plays well when he does, that's all that really matters at the end of the day for me. And yeah, play that I'd love to see there. I mean, the thing that showed the other day, like spoke to a couple of others, like others have been saying and that, one of the biggest problems was we really did lack some severe depth there. I mean, I've heard quite a few opinions on that game against PSG. And yeah, I watched that again. That's 3 times I've watched that game now. And oh, 1 second. Just got a message, got a bloody reply to. My bad. And yes. There we go. Sweet. And yeah, I mean, I do see some of the, let's say, what some would say negative points to it. I do get some of the points that people make with it. Like Archie Gray shouldn't have been on the pitch and stuff like that. But then for me, there's a lot of positives that totally outweigh it as well. I mean, I'll go into them again. And I wouldn't say things have changed my opinion on that game, but like as a whole. But there is definitely a few things to look at that I didn't look at. And one thing I do try and do is take other people's opinions into consideration. Now, I haven't got to agree with it. I just try to get it. I try to get the other person's point. Why is that your opinion? Back your opinion up. Why is it? Doesn't mean I've got to agree with it. No one's got to agree with mine. But at least try and just put the effort in to get it. And I think some solid people, like Dietrich on my show yesterday, I think he made some really good points. Other people have made some good points to me about it as well. But then there is so much positive about it as well. And I think really you need to sit there and pick out both sides of it to see where the improvement is going to come from and what we need to do. And I think enough people have spoke about it that most of us would agree, bar the subs in the last 5 minutes, it was a very, very positive game. But I'll get into that one again. I mean, other things I'm reading at the moment, Spence, new contract. I mean, if I remember, his other one was to what, 2028, if I remember right. And I think he's just signed this one off to 2030. I personally think that's a good idea. I mean, I don't know what his wages have gone up to, but I think that's a pretty solid idea. I can't see why not, since he's been playing consistently for us. apart from when he got dropped for being the best player on the team for being 3 months. I think he's been one of our better players when he's played. And he can cover that left every good as he can cover the right. I think he's definitely better at defensive than Porro or Dogi, who I still personally believe neither are a good defender. Not saying they haven't got the capability to defend, but there's having the capability to defend and being a good defender. I don't think either of them were made to be defenders. They never had to play that way. They was always wing backs. Porro definitely improves on the defensive side over a bit of time. He has done. But for me, he is still not a defensive player. Good at getting in front of the ball. Yes, I'll give him that. Odd tackle here and there. But again, his best way is an attacking wing back, overlapping, going forward. And it showed the other day. And games that he has played like that, it does show. So the thing I do like with Spence is he can cover both sides. And he is definitely the one out of the two of them that can defend. But do we need more there? Yes, we do. But you can say we need more in a lot of places. But the priority is definitely up front on where we definitely need to sort it out at the moment, isn't it? And it just comes down to that question of will we or won't we? So, say hello to a couple of people. Tony, how you doing, fella? Good morning, Dan. Guest and chat. Happy Friday. Yes, it is. Always nice to be on a Friday. Hope you had a good night anyway, mate. AS winner, good morning, Dan and guests. Hope you're all well. And hope you're well, Tony. Hope you're good as well. And Tony, what are you saying here, mate? Justin from Matt Barlow. Savina's agent has flown into Brazil to bid force through the wingers move to THFC. That's basically what I'd read. I hadn't read about his agent as such, but I've read that they want to get the deal done. It's just the thing is, from what I keep reading, this is a 70 million deal. And this is where I just struggle to see Spurs actually paying 70 million for a player. And also I do struggle seeing Spurs buying two back-to-back after they've already gone and spent 55 million. I do struggle seeing back-to-back paying 70 and 60 for a player. Because I don't think we're going to get Eze on the cheap if we even get him. I mean, it's definitely starting to come up now that Arsenal are definitely interested in him as well. But I think they got their own little problems they got to sort out as well before they can throw any more money about. And Jessica, morning Dan, morning all, morning to you. Hope you had a better night than me. And Jessica, got a good feeling about today. What's the good feeling about today? Is that just today in general? Or is that the football? I mean, Friday usually is a good day. It's happy for most people. And AS winner, cheers, Dan. And big up. And Mark also saying, you're up early, pal. Yes, mate. I've been up since 5 o'clock. Like I said, at the moment, I just can't sleep. Come love nor bloody money. And he's doing my head right in. And then when you're sitting there just reading through the football, doing a couple of things, you just, well, why not? You're sitting there not far off talking to yourself when you're bloody reading it. So I thought, you know what, we'll stuff it. I'll just do a bloody show. And Mark also saying, get the coffee on. Yeah, got the coffee on. Was a bit late. Made sure I got a big one so I don't have to do a bloody second one. Or if I wake the wife up at this time to go and make me a coffee, I probably wouldn't be able to get back on YouTube for a long time. Wives don't like getting woke up, do they? And Anthony saying, morning, Dan, up early, bro. Yes, it is. Like I said, just cannot bloody sleep. And Mark also saying, morning all. Have we signed anyone yet? Nope, not that I can see of. Not as yet. And 1 second, another message. Just sending link out. Feel free. There we go. And yep, link sent out there. And we saying there, Mike, yeah, morning all. Have we signed anyone yet? No, not yet. I mean, I do wonder, is some of this just news to try and hold back things for Saturday? I mean, quite a few things on there. It's sort of thing Spurs doing it. We do like to put a bit of news down before an important game or a start of the season, whatever else, you know, to try and calm the situation down as such. I mean, today starts with Liverpool and Bournemouth tonight. Be good to finally have the season start. And then tomorrow we start our season with Burnley at 3 o'clock, which is a game I think we should definitely be winning. And someone just come in and say hello. Mia, how we doing?
Morning, I'm good, thank you. I've had my coffee, so I'm all good, man.
Oh, I've been up since I've said it about 10 times now, but I've been up since fucking 5 o'clock, and at the moment I just cannot bloody sleep. I'm getting about 3 hours sleep a night, and it is really not doing me any favours.
I know this sounds really stupid, I know it's a football chat, but just to say, have you tried getting a sheet, putting water on it, squeezing it out and put it on top of you, because you'll get cool and the sheets are thin so they don't stay cold for too long, so you won't obviously be too cold, but it'll cool your body, your core body temperature down to let you sleep. That's what I do with the kids.
Oh, do you know what? I was just about to say that sounds like a very motherly tactic.
Yeah, that's what I do with the boys, because when they get hot, even now, my youngest is 15 and he gets so hot, and I said that's what I'd say to him to do.
Terrible. I mean,
Yeah.
I went and spent nearly bloody 300 quid on 2 fans to put in the bedroom, like the one I got behind me. They do a lovely job, but I've actually got quite small rooms where I live in a bungalow. Basically, the rooms ain't massive. Yeah. They just get so bloody hot in there.
Well,
the most annoying thing is I can't even leave my windows wide open, because you never know what prick's going to jump through them in this day and age, do you?
Well, yeah, because you still live in London, innit? It's not like round here. Now I've moved, it ain't like that. It's weird. I left my door open one night and then I was just like, oh yeah, I forget where I am now, innit? It's not London anymore. Like, they ain't like that round here, so it's quite safe. So
I don't think I trust anyone anywhere these days. So since I haven't seen you and really spoke to you about this, apart from a quick message or two off of this, give me your opinions on the game then, because I've been listening to a lot of people, and for me on the night looking at it, it was an extremely positive game. Definitely had its other sides to it as well, but listening to a lot on what other people have said, taking in other people's opinions as well, I can definitely pull out parts of this game where you can see we definitely need to improve, and maybe there was a wrong decision made. But I would definitely say with this game, the positives outweigh the negatives, apart from the fact we lost.
100%. Like I predicted, can I just say, I predicted 2-2 and penalties. I got it actually bang on. So it's funny. I should put a bloody bet on it, man. But yeah, I think that definitely the positives outweigh the negatives. I don't like, the only thing I would say is definitely the substitutions. I maybe would have put a more defensive, possibly. That's the only thing. But with what Frank has got, I think he did fantastic to play the back three, which I think threw them, because I don't think they thought that we would, because we obviously were quite like in pre-season we were always playing the back four, so I think that probably made him think, oh, well, yeah, they didn't expect it, and I think he did extremely well. And the thing is, he's only got what he's got, man. I understand. I do think he could have maybe made different changes, but when you look at their bench versus our bench, there's no comparison, man. You can't compare. Like, they've got a superior team and a superior bench. So for what everyone said, we were going to get smashed, everybody was saying we were going to get smashed, and we didn't.
Me being one of them. Yeah. I mean, so what I'll ask you then, I mean, the options ain't there. We can see that, yeah. But the more I've listened to a few people, and I've watched the game 3 times now, I do think he made a mistake in the aspect of the players he did bring on. I mean, Dietrich's made a very good point in the aspect of that. I don't think Archie Gray should have even been on that bloody pitch. I think he could have brought Davis on, and we should have just shut up shop and basically put it 6 at the back with like 3 in the middle, whatever. I know they had us pushed back, but we hadn't exactly shut up shop as such, the way Mourinho would do it, or Conte, whatever else. And I do think that is one of the little things I can poke out, that we was 2-0 up. There was about 8 minutes to go or whatever before they scored their first one, if I remember right. And do you think he should have done that a bit different? I mean, Tell shouldn't have been on the bloody pitch either. I mean, the argument you can have there is, who'd you put on, Tell or Johnson? It's like, I'm going to go Johnson, but that's only because he can score a tap in, and I think he actually might be a bit more versatile on a penalty than Tell. But I think that also goes with what you say, the lack of fucking depth on there. But do you agree with that one? Like, Gray shouldn't have been on there. Maybe he should have brought on Davis. Like, Ange did bring on a defensive player in that game and shut up shop properly.
See, the thing is that you've got, it's a double-edged knife. Like, because the thing is, if we did that, we're still going to invite the pressure, and would Davies be the one player to make the difference to keep the goals out? That's what you've got to think of. And I'm going to throw a little grenade. Is it we had Archie Gray? Would we have been better to have Basuma? I'm not saying I think obviously I don't agree with him being late, and I want
It's a
him
solid
to be
point.
punished. But Basuma defensively is more solid, and he's not Archie Gray, who's a young buck who's not got experience as much. He's definitely not quite ready to be in that position, and I think that having Basuma, I think could have made a bit more difference, because as I say, we're going to shut up shop, we're inviting pressure. Is Ben Davies a difference maker to not letting those goals? That's what I would ask, and I don't think so. I don't know.
I'd say to Archie Gray 1,000,000%. He's an experienced defender in that aspect. We're not great, we know that, but he gives it his all sort of thing. I mean, if you want to class him someone, then put him up there with Charlison sort of thing. They both give it their all, but you don't really get the end product of it. And with the Basuma thing, I'll come to that, because there is two sides to that one. And I am very sitting on the fence with that one, but I definitely get both sides to it. But Stel, how you doing, mate? You all right?
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks for having me on. Hello to both of you, everyone in the chat. My YouTube break is over now. Back. And we go again. Another season. Here we go.
So go on then. Give us your. I haven't heard yours either. I didn't watch top 5 last night. I must admit, I got a bit wrapped up playing on my PlayStation. It happens at times. And the game itself. Go on. Surely you got your points to it. I haven't actually heard them yet.
Yeah. Okay. I'll just repeat what I said last night. So my conclusion is that, and it's what I thought before, Thomas Frank is a very, very good coach, like really good coach, but he's not a winner. He's not a winner. Before he came to Spurs, I looked at his history, and he's not won anything in 13 years. And people said, oh, but, you don't win until you win. I said, yeah, but he managed in Scandinavia and won nothing. Other managers, we'll use the most recent one, right? It's not about Ange versus Frank, but Ange, he won in Australia, he won in Asia. They're not good leagues. He found some success. Oh, but he managed Brentford. I said, yeah. And Eddie Howe managed Bournemouth and won the championship. Oh, but what do you want him to do in the Premier League? I don't know. Glasner won an FA Cup in the Premier League. So to not win anything said to me, but why is that? It can't just be bad luck and he's managed low-level teams. Alex Ferguson went to Scotland and broke the monopoly of Rangers and Celtic with Aberdeen. Won a league title with Barcelona B team. Mourinho won a Champions League with Porto when they were the rank outsiders. So you can win a trophy in your career. I mean, Harry Redknapp won the FA Cup with Portsmouth. Martinez won a cup final, beating Man City with Wigan. So you can win a trophy in your career. He's won nothing. And this was my only concern of Frank. As a coach, you saw against PSG, he knows what he's doing. I said on Monday night show on the Spurs 5, I said, I asked Savra and Sean, don't you think we should go to a back three and push the fullbacks up? Because we haven't got an attack. The midfield's pretty dead with creativity. Use the fullbacks as the attack. Maybe we can cause some problems for PSG and just go to a back three to protect both fullbacks going up. And they said, Frank's not going to do that. Frank's never done that pre-season. Why would he do that? I was thinking of the game from a coaching perspective. That's what I would do, knowing that PSG are probably going to have our number, and having what Chelsea did when they played PSG. And Frank did exactly that. So when I saw Frank do that, I thought, this is a coach. This guy gets it. Not because he did what I said. Frank knows much more than me, right? Let's have it right.
He definitely got the tactics right.
Dan, he nailed the tactics. He got it spot on the money, bang on the money. That's exactly what anyone that's a student of the game would have thought. If I can't attack down the middle and my attacking lineup's a bit weak, but my fullbacks have got something about them, I need to use them more. But if I use them more, I expose the defence. But if I go to a back three, they're protecting. I've got Paulinho in front. And he did it.
Mm-hmm.
PSG were rubbish. For 60 minutes, they were absolute rubbish. But it's not my fault. It's not Frank's fault. It's not your fault. It's not Alex's fault. At the end of the day, we prepared for the game. PSG didn't prepare because they were still on holiday. You've got to be in a position to take advantage if your opponent's weak. And for 60 minutes, PSG were weak and we took advantage. Again, that's down to the manager. He had us ready for it. So that all said, Thomas Frank's coaching, Thomas Frank's preparation had us in an unbelievable position, a position none of us thought. 2-0 PSG. Are you kidding me? I predicted a 4-0 thumping. So
I thought 3-0 was being positive, if I'm going to be honest. I don't think anyone saw a goal coming.
The only one that predicted it will go to penalties was Sean Butler. Everyone else said we're going to lose. You know, come on, let's have it right. They're the best team in the world.
I mean, Sava said draw, and the person who actually got it actually spot on, who was Mia, who just popped on to say her bit. She messaged me before the game and said 2 all penalties, and I just laughed at her, just told her lay off, basically, leave it alone. She actually got it right.
Mate, she should have put a bet on and paid for her summer holidays. I'm telling you, she would have absolutely nailed that bet. But look, the reality is this. Frank did brilliantly to get us in that position. He did excellently with the tactics. But you find yourself in a brilliant position. 5 minutes to go. Get it over the line now. Now you've got to bring it home. Just imagine Frank in his first month winning the Super Cup, beating PSG. The hype, the confidence, the euphoria would have been unbelievable for him, for us. Arsenal fans would be finished. Their season would be dusted before it began. So get it over the line now. You're just like when Poch got us to a Champions League final. I never thought I'd see Spurs in a Champions League final. Poch, get it over the line now. The decisions Frank made cost us. He didn't make the decisions of a winner. If that was Conte, Mourinho, Ancelotti, Klopp, they would have shut shop, locked it down, and stank it right out for 5 minutes. Even Ange, Dan, in Bilbao, we're 1-0 up, 10 minutes to go. What does he do? Brings on Spence, brings on Danzo, 2 defenders, locks it up, and we just got it over the line. To not bring on Ben Davies or Vuskovic, when you can see that you've got defenders on the pitch who are looking a bit leggy, you've taken off Paulinho and you bring on Gray. Mate, I'm not saying he should have taken Basuma because he was disciplining him. But for a one-off game, for a one-off game where you want to win a trophy, you want your best players there. I personally, Dan, do you know what I would have done? I would have brought on Ben Davies and I would have brought on Vuskovic and I would have put Romero into the 6 and said, right, let PSG try and come through that. At least do something to make it more solid at the back for the last 5 minutes. That's all you got to do. He brings on Gray. He looked completely lost. And when people say to me, oh, what do you want him to do? Bring on Vuskovic. Vuskovic is a kid. Gray's a kid. And he brings on Tel, the least experienced attacker we had on the bench. Odegaard's got 2 years in the Premier League. Brennan Johnson's got 2 years in the Premier League and he's our top goal scorer from last year. They're better to come on if you want an outlet than Tel. So for me, Dan, it gave
Johnson's
PSG
better than Tel.
Well, if we go by the data, he is, which is shocking, right? But I'm just saying, man, those decisions have consequences. Like starting Kane in a cup final has consequences when he hasn't played for 2 months and Moura scored a hat-trick to get you there. These decisions aren't decisions that winners make. So it goes to penalty. It's anyone's game. We didn't win the penalties. Tel proved to me again why he shouldn't be at this club.
Yes.
But I just feel that 2-0 up, Dan, even with the players we had, do you see Conte, Ancelotti, Jose, Nuno losing that? I don't.
Nuno, I won't put into that one. But with the ones like Ancelotti, Conte and Mourinho, I mean, first off, when I watched the game, I was more hyped than anything. And I think a lot of that come down to just for the once we looked fucking organised and we was actually good to watch for 70, 75 minutes, I'd say. I mean, second half, I'd say they definitely showed up a lot more than they did in the first half. I think first 20 minutes, I think PSG actually looked a bit rusty. But I think we actually made them look rustier than what they actually were. And like I said, after watching the game 3 times now, listening to other people's opinions as well, taking in other sides that I hadn't noticed myself and things like that, I do actually agree with what you're saying to the certain points of. Now, I wouldn't have brought on Vuskovic, but Davis was an option to bring on over Archie Gray, who for me, again, you get sick of hearing his fucking name for God's sake, but he should not have been on that bloody pitch. And I think Dietrich's nailed it on the head yesterday, and I spoke to him after the game. Archie Gray is not ready for this shit, and it blatantly shows. This is only, the 5th or 6th time he's played in centre mid for us, and it shows why he cannot get in that position. The excuse you can give him, he was playing against the best team on the planet. But then I'll turn around and say, well, why the hell was he on the team? Why the hell was he on the pitch? And do you know what? With that one, I can see what you mean. I mean, for me saying and shut up shop, yes, he did, but on the other side, he did what the bloody players told him to do. But at the end of the day, he still won. He still went and done it, and we still won. That's what matters at the end of it.
The players didn't tell Ange to bring on 2 defenders with 10 minutes to go. Ange did that.
Romero basically told him what to do. He even done it on the pitch.
I don't believe for one second Romero told Ange what subs to make. I don't buy that.
Okay, fair enough. We'll agree to disagree on that one. We'll agree to disagree on that one. But my point is,
you go on.
He should. I'm agreeing with most of what you're saying. My point is, at the end of the day,
do you know what, Dan? Forget Ange. Conte,
yes, that's what I was about to
Mourinho,
say.
All the other managers, Klopp, they would have shut it. They would
have put literally 10 men on the goal line. I understand that. Yeah,
I think they would have for 5 minutes. Yeah,
yeah, and it was just the situation we was in. There was a lot of players in there knackered. I mean, Paulinho, he had to come off. I think he had a brilliant game, but you could see he was done and dusted, and lack of game time for 2, 3 months, 4 months even. Did Sarr really have to come off? I watched the game again. Yes, he'd run about like an engine, but could we have just made him sit back as well instead of bringing on an Archie Gray sort of thing? Could we have just told him to sit back and not run about, but just try and get in the way of the ball as such? Maybe there is different things that could be said here, but yeah, the more I look on it, Tell and Gray shouldn't have been on that pitch. I mean, even if you would have, I think instead of Tell, I mean, dare I say it, but I think again, Dietrich's hit the nail on the head when he said even Johnson is better than Tell, and that's how bad I think Tell has been for us, basically. And I do get that quite possibly cost us the game. I'll go to Basuma after I spoke to Alex, yeah, but I do see the other sides of it. But even you've just sat here and admitted the things that a lot of us said. There was a lot more positive to that game than there was negative. It's just the negative at the end was we lost it, and it was a bad decision, I think, to bring Gray on.
Look, I want to make this clear because there's people in the chat that are saying things that I haven't said because I've come on and I'm not scared to criticize Frank because I have no emotional attachment to any manager and I'm not up any manager's backside. I say it as I see it. And people are saying things that I haven't said. So I just want to clear a few things up. I never said Ange was more organized than Frank. I said Frank's tactics was spot on. He nailed the tactics.
Mm-hmm.
And Frank put us in a position where we were winning. Praising him. I also said he's a very good coach. You can see it. Look at the structure.
It blatantly shows already.
Mate, you can see 100%.
That was a positive side.
It's not even for debate. What I said was, and this is where people are getting all giddy again because they don't like any form of critical analysis. He's not a winner because what he did in the last 5 minutes showed to me you aren't a winner. Ange is not a good coach, but he's a winner. Whatever you want to say, guys, he's a winner. The record shows it. And Dan, just one last thing, and then I do want to hear what you have to say on this. People are saying to me, Stel, how do you put on more than 5 defenders on the pitch?
Push one forward.
If your option is Archie Gray, I'd rather a defender goes into that role who can defend. Because we were backs to the wall. We were all
You could have put
men to the
Romero.
pump.
You could have put Romero there. You could have put Romero there.
That's
you know
what I
mean?
said, Alex. Push
You know what I
Romero
mean?
there.
Romero in midfield. Sorry to interrupt.
When you park the bus, it means you go super defensive. When you're going to go super defensive, put on as many defenders as you've got. When the alternative is Arch, if we have Basuma, you bring him on. But if the option is Archie Gray, Tell, all this lot, put Odeberg, Johnson, put these names into the hat. If they're the options to come on alongside Vuskovic and Davies, and you are going to park the bus, you bring on Vuskovic and Davies. The thing is, we didn't park the bus. We didn't.
No, we didn't. We got pushed back to that extent. There's a difference. And I think some people see it as in we parked the bus. No, we didn't. When you park the bus, you do it intentionally and you know what you're doing. But then it's like what happened to us last season a few times where we played non-inverted wing backs. It wasn't because we planned on doing that way. It's just we got pushed into such a position that we ended up playing that way. I mean, you're right on a lot of what you're saying there. I mean, and you haven't actually been negative about this. You spoke more positive than negative. It's just the final bit. I think the phrase that people don't like still is when you say he's not a winner. Okay, at the moment he's not a proven winner.
He's won nothing in his career.
What's a fact though?
I get
he's
that.
Won nothing.
I get that.
You can win a game of football, right? Dan, they don't like it because they're emotional about the manager. They're too consumed by the manager and not looking at it objectively. A winner, when I say the word winner, show me what you've got in the trophy cabinet. You can win a game of football. That doesn't mean
I can
you're a
totally
winner.
understand that.
Pochettino is not a winner. And I love Poch. He's my favourite ever coach, my favourite ever manager. He's not a winner, though. Look. And do you know where the proof was? Do you know where the proof was that Poch isn't a winner? The cup final, where Gary Neville called them the £1 billion blue bottle jobs. The kids of Liverpool beat Poch. He's not a winner. Great coach, brilliant developer of players. He'll take your club up levels. He's not a winner though, man. And I'm just being honest about it. And people don't want to hear it.
I don't think there's nothing wrong with it. At the end of the day, a lot of it is your opinion. But on the last bits you said,
Frank will make us top 6 one day. I think Frank eventually, if Frank's still here in 2 years' time, 3 years' time, he'll make us top 4. Frank will get us to semi-finals. Frank will push the club forward. But do I see him winning trophies? Based on the decisions he makes in key moments, no.
Well, that's the point that I'll come to, yeah. But at the end of the day, all you've done is give your opinion. And I think it's a pretty fair assessment you've actually give. Because, I mean, I'll come straight to you, Alex, next. And it did take me to watch the game 3 times and listen to a few others' opinions. And believe it or not, in football, you are actually allowed to change your opinions when you watch a game a few times. Or when you listen to someone else's side of the story and just think, do you know what? That just shows that you're actually willing to take in another person's point. And that is one thing I do try really hard to do. But at the end of the day, if I don't agree with it, I ain't agreeing with it for the bloody sake of it. And I do think some people made some solid points. It's like when you see a penalty, straight away, penalty, definitely 100%. You see it from that angle. Penalty, 90%. You see it from that angle, no, not a penalty. You can change your mind in football very quickly by how you see things or the angle you see things. And I think some people have made up some solid points. I mean, for me, there was so much more positive, than negative. But you do have to pick out the other points as well. Anyway, Alex, morning, mate. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm all right. I mean, listen, like, I'm not going to repeat what Stel says because most of it I agree with. I mean,
say what you want to say. Your assumption on the game and what happened and why.
Well, I mean, I've kind of put it on my watch long anyway, so you can go and
watch. Well, you haven't
that.
said it on here.
But my point is though, yeah, right. Well, that's the plug there. I miss the box office TV. But the point is though, yeah, like just a little bit of a rundown, a little bit of a rundown there, yeah, is that at the end of the day, I was impressed with the fact that what he done, with the tactics, right? We controlled the game. We rattled Perisic so much that Kvaratskhelia came on at half time. Then 10 minutes later, come off, looked so angry, like he lost his lunchbox. You know what I mean? So, you know, we rattled them so much. You know what I mean? But unfortunately, he made the mistake, and I said it on my watch along. Why is Archie Gray coming on? And when he came on for that player, or put a Polinia, I was sitting there thinking, what are you doing? What are you doing? You know what I mean? And unfortunately, I would even include Solanke because he was absolutely useless. Because I've got to be honest, Richarlison was better than him. And that's a lot for Mr. Box Office to say that because I called him below average Emil Heskey for a reason, aka Richarlison. But Richarlison, even though he was just running about and they'll give him a Blue Peter badge for it, was doing more than bloody Solanke was doing. The only thing Solanke did was score a penalty. And really, that should be a standard for a striker. You know what I mean?
Richarlison just didn't put it in the back of the net for us when I think he had 3 good chances, basically.
That's the point.
Apart from that, he did have... I thought his first half was shady, but second half, I thought he came out and he was a pain in the arse, at least.
Well, he's a pain in the arse. That's the only thing good about it.
But he can't put it in the back of the net. That is the problem. Anyway, go on, Alex. What are you saying?
No, but you know, and I think people are going over the top of Bentancur. I've got to be honest. Again, Bentancur is the superb player that everyone's talking about. I'm like, okay, he's okay. He was a good. I would have taken him off all day long. You know what I mean?
Paulinho was knackered. He had to come off. He was done and dusted.
But unfortunately,
you cannot tell me Bentancur did not have a solid game.
He was okay, Dan. I'm sorry. This is over the top about. No, I'm sorry.
Okay, go on. No,
because the thing is, look who was a guy on the sideline saying this, yeah, about mentality, yeah, stick, you know, keep your nerve about you. It was Paulinho, yeah. Where's that mentality with Bentancur? You know what I mean?
Okay, fair enough. Bentancur, one thing he's always been known for. I know, Alex. I think you're getting the wrong side of it. Yeah, I think you got to translate this a bit different. Yeah. With Bentancur, one thing he's always been known for, and even at Juventus, was having moments where it was like he gets a mobile phone call or something, where he just drifts out a bit, basically. Yeah, and he is known for that. I don't think there was people saying, yes, we've got the old Bentancur back. He's a brilliant player, this and that. He's excellent, whatever else. Right. That's not what I said. I said he had a solid game, and he did have a solid game. And I don't think there's many out there that would dispute that. He had a better than okay game. Now, I'm not judging him overall as a player. I'm judging his game. I mean, you can bring on Harry Kane, and he can have a shit game, and I can turn around and say he was shit, but I'm not saying he's a shit player. I don't think there's been many out there who are saying Bentancur is now superb. I know there's ones out there that love him to death. There's always going to be those ones, but I think a majority of people, Alex, are just saying he had a fucking solid game.
Yeah, why is that then? Why is that? Because he
played well.
Who's playing with him? Oh yeah, Paulinho. Yeah, look what happened afterwards.
But he had a solid game.
The guy needs a partner. Like I said, Højbjerg made him look good. So, like I said, I'm sorry. This guy's
would Paulinho have survived with Archie Gray next to him?
I think we haven't seen it yet, haven't we? We haven't seen it yet, haven't we?
It's a question.
So that's what I'm saying. So at the moment, we haven't seen it yet, haven't we?
But what's your opinion? Surely you got an
at the moment. I'll give it a go. Yeah, maybe he would. Maybe he would do. Yeah. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But at the moment, I've seen Bentancur for how many years now?
You think he'd deal with the situation better of having Archie Gray next to him? But again, any midfielder there. Okay, that's a fair enough assumption.
And then you got Bissouma, and unfortunately, by proxy, I think Frank was, was sensible to what he done. Right? If he's late, how many times you've got to put a statement out there? You know what I mean? You've got to put a line drawn towards it so everyone knows what the rules are. That's fine. Unfortunately, though, because the player that replaced him, Archie Gray, came on, right? And he can include us. You know what I mean? Like, unfortunately, that's the thing, really. You know what I mean? So it's not me. And I think Stelios is spot on because, unfortunately, I think other people just do not understand that. And unfortunately, some of your colleagues on the Spurs 5 don't understand it sometimes. You know what I mean? Because I've had arguments with some of them and they don't get it. we're not saying we hate Thomas Frank. I think Thomas Frank is a very good coach. You know what I mean? He's proven that
He's gonna make us better. Frank will make us better.
He's make us better. But when you criticize people, managers, these are the hypocrites that were criticizing Ange, right?
Mm.
And they didn't like it when they got negative, said they were negative, right? Okay, right. When we're doing the same thing with Frank, who again needs to prove himself because he's got 18 months to do that, right? Doesn't make us negative. But unfortunately, the Spurs fan base and YouTube world are just acting the same way that they did with every single other manager. And like I said, just put it perfectly, I said it on my show, Mr. Box Office TV, right? I'm not emotionally attached to managers anymore, right? Because Tottenham Hotspur don't keep managers enough for me to get emotional anymore.
True. Yeah.
Right? It's just not. It's just. True. You learn with the space that you are in. You learn over time. You know what I mean? And unfortunately, Tottenham fans do not learn. They don't learn.
In that
they're
aspect,
doing the same thing they did with Ange Postecoglou. They're doing the same thing they did with Mourinho. They did the same thing with Nuno and Conte. They said, "Oh, why are you doing back the manager? Back the manager? Back the manager? Back the manager?" Well, no. He needs to prove himself, and he's shown me that he's a good coach in the last how many weeks. And we, like I said, there are positives out of that game, right? But unfortunately, there are things there, and unfortunately, the winner thing is gonna be brought up. Unfortunately, you know what I mean. So, you know, and that's it for me. So that's all I've got to say. Really, back to you, Dan.
It's in that aspect, yeah. I mean, I agree with what you're saying. People do like to get emotionally attached, whatever else. And I just don't think there's a lot of people out there who just don't like, they almost don't think it's fair that he gets judged or whatever. Now, I'm not judging Frank. He was my third choice manager, and I think he's going to do very well at Spurs. And do I think there's going to be, the thing I do like about him as well is, I mean, you say he's not a winner still. I agree with that. He's won nothing as yet. But I do personally believe he's a coach that has the capability to learn. And that is one thing which is a positive side. Only time will tell if we're in the same position again. If we're in the same position again, fair enough. But if we're in the same position, if we're in the same situation again, and he makes the same mistakes again, then obviously he isn't learning. We won't actually know until if we get in the same situation again. I personally think, in opinion, he has the capability to learn. But on the moment, he did get that decision wrong. And it's like I say to people, if you want to improve, you have to look at the negative sides as well. Same as a lot of us have said the positive sides to it. There was so much positive about that game. But I think that decision of bringing Gray on was the one that severely cost us. I mean, Tell was just absolute crap when he came on as well. I mean, Johnson could have come on and possibly done better. I mean, possibly. But he's definitely shown he can do more than Tell. I think Tell has been goddamn awful since we got him. And I do think that was a big mistake that Frank made. But the positives in that game definitely outweigh the negatives.
We're not talking
100%.
about. We're not talking about. The
I'm doing both sides. I'm talking about both sides. Yeah.
No, I'm just saying.
There are a lot of positive to it as well.
We're not talking about the whole thing outside the Tell. You know what I mean? Because we know what's going on there. You know what I mean?
I'm not even. That's got fuck all to do with the game as far as I'm concerned. Exactly. Yeah, that's a whole different kettle of fish. Exactly. Yeah, I ain't even going to go into that. I said my opinion on it yesterday. I ain't going into that. To me, that is irrelevant to the game.
Exactly.
That's a load of shit that happened off the game that needs to get dealt with. Yeah, I'm talking purely about the football side.
We're talking about the football. That's just to make it clear. You know what I mean, Montel?
Yeah. And with that, he's another one. And the fact that that's the only options he had. The thing I'll go with now is Basuma, yeah? I mean, I had this chat with a couple of people yesterday. And I must admit, I'm a bit torn on it, but I'm more on the manager's side here. We've said for a long time that we can't get players out. We won't force players out. We haven't got a manager or coach that puts his foot down, whatever else and that. And you can say, look what Arteta done as soon as he went into Arsenal. Look at the two he took out, two of the biggest at the club, because he didn't like their attitude. He didn't like the way Aubameyang was, and he was always late or whatever, so far what Arteta said. And he basically said, fuck off. So fair play to him in that opinion. And that is what I want my coach or manager to have the capability of doing, to tell the player, you ain't the boss here. You've been late 2 or 3 times now. You ain't coming to the game. So I will make Frank right in that aspect. I'll back him on that. But there is that other side of me that says that was a massive game we had coming up. And I know Basuma can't defend come love nor money, but he ain't doing worse than fucking Archie Gray. I thought Archie Gray got absolutely cooked, the poor fella. I mean, twice on that pitch, I saw things happen where the ball went past him and he was actually standing there pointing to other players. And it's like, mate, what are you doing? Well, why aren't you looking at the ball?
Look at the drop-off from Paulinho to Gray. It's massive. The drop-off from Paulinho to Gray is
huge.
And this is where now, right? This is where now fans need to make a decision what they want and expect from Thomas Frank. Is Thomas Frank here to be given lots and lots and lots and lots of good players so that we can be successful? If that's the case, then why the fuck did we sack Conte? Because he's the master of winning trophies. Give him the players. If he's here to develop the players, then every time Gray doesn't play well, or if we don't see improvements from the youngsters, you've got to look at the manager the same way we looked at Ange and Jose and Conte and all the others and say, who are you actually developing here, Frank? So for me, the way I look at it is this, and I said this to everyone on every show I've been on. Frank doesn't get a free pass because we hated all the previous managers.
Agreed.
Right?
I agree. I agree.
Exactly what I said.
Thomas Frank, right? Thomas Frank, he needs to be backed because this squad has been shit for 5 years, right? Yes. He needs to be backed. He needs some proper wide players, creative talent, a decent 8 that can control the game of football, and a new striker. Once he's got that, then we can say, right, you've got good players here, Frank. But at the same time, he's got to develop Gray, Bergvall, Odebert, Tell. Maybe not all of them, but some of them he's got to develop. Otherwise, what are you doing that's any different to any other manager, okay? So the way I look at it is, I'm happy for us to all agree that Gray, maybe he shouldn't be at the club. He needs to go on loan. Maybe he's out of his depth. Maybe he's not ready. But we can't do it for every player because, I'm sorry, you're earning millions of pounds. Develop the players, because we all criticise Ange. Who's he developed? Who's he progressed?
Exactly.
We criticise Conte. Why isn't he developing the youngsters? We criticise Mourinho. Why isn't he bringing through the kids? Frank can't be given a free pass, guys. Otherwise, what are we doing here? What are we playing? Like, what's his job then? Just to be given multi-million-pound players? No manager gets that at Spurs. No manager's ever going to get that at Spurs. No manager.
What I think has happened with Frank, and
by the way, Dan, Frank gets at least a year or 2 before we properly judge him, though. Yeah?
Yes, exactly. Same as Ange. Same as Ange did. I mean, I called out Ange.
He gets 18 months.
Either way, whatever it is, I called Ange after 7 games, and I said to Sava, and I said, look, if he keeps playing this way, we're going to get sussed out very quickly, and we're going to get picked apart and destroyed. And a lot of people said, not a chance, whatever. The bit I added to it is, but he's a manager, got experience. He's obviously got a plan B, and he's going to adapt to the Premier League. He didn't. And I still wasn't Ange out. I mean, I must admit, by the end of the season, I was sick to death of it. But I wasn't Ange out until, I'd say, 5 games into the first season. Or the other way you could change it a bit. I must admit, I was pretty much sitting on the fence when we got Werner for the second time. I must admit, I was like... But it weren't until the second season that I judged him properly. And I think Frank gets that right, same as any manager does as well. But if anybody thinks... I can only vouch for myself here, but if anybody thinks that I'm going to go through this season and not judge Frank the same way I did Ange... Well, they're wrong. I'm going to judge them the same way. Same as I'm going to judge Archie Gray to Benton Core next to him. But the only leeway I give Archie Gray is the fact that he hasn't got experience. The thing I will judge him the same on is they're both getting paid thousands and thousands a month. They're both in, like, Spurs 25 team and that, I expect a certain level when they come on the pitch. So I will judge them the same way, whether people say that's fair or not. I mean, Gray's getting 75 grand a fucking week. So yes, I will judge him. I think Frank has been bought here more on the Levy side of things. And what I mean by the Levy side of things, we know the fella ain't going to go out and spend the money. Are we going to get Savinho and Eze? In my opinion, no. Can we get one of them? Yes. I'm just being realistic from what I've seen off of Spurs. And I've said to enough people, give me something positive to look at on why I can believe that will happen. People saying to me that because we have to do it is not good enough. We've had to do a lot of things at Spurs and we ain't fucking done it, yeah? And I think he's a very good manager in the aspect of playing with the cards he's got. Yes, he made that screw up there, but he got everything else bang on playing with the cards he's got, especially against PSG. And I think he's been brought in as more of a manager to be given a player here and there, but adapt the team he's got and try and progress the team he's got. He already looks like he's gotten back to standards, but again, that's only one game. You can really say that in. I mean, Bayern Munich, we got absolutely torn a new one, but again, it's only a friendly. So he's got to get players back to standards. He's then also got to improve younger players like Archie Gray, Odebert, Tell and everything. At the end of the day, for me, that's his fucking job. That's his job.
Exactly, Dan.
If he doesn't,
Dan, I've got
for
to
me,
say something.
hang on, Alex. For me, now,
I
if he
agree with
doesn't
you.
get at least another player, then I will say Ange got backed more than he did, yeah? And it's not right. It shouldn't be like that. But then my opinion is, at the end of the day, Frank, I think you're a great coach from what I've seen. And I think you've got a lot of potential. I think you will learn. But now go and do your fucking job.
Dan,
If you can't get the formation out of the players you want, my criticism of Ange all the time was that he just kept trying to get the players to play his way when they blatantly couldn't do it. I think Frank has got the capability of saying, right, I want to play this way, but I just ain't got the players to do it. So I'm going to have to play this way to get the best out of the players. And that's his job at the end of the day. If we don't get a 10 and we don't get a left wing, we're up shit street in a big way. But I will still say it is then down to Frank to get the best out of he can. And if I see we've played the best way we can with the right formations, but at the end of the day, we just get beaten by the better team, I can deal with that. Go on, Alex. But he's still got to do his job at the end of the day.
I've got to go soon. That's the thing, unfortunately. That's why.
Okay, mate. Sorry, go on.
I would just listen, but it's, unfortunately, it was only going to be a short spell. Unfortunately, I've got to go. But yeah, I think you're absolutely. I think you said everything I wanted to say. To be honest with you, in that
Sorry.
sense. No. It's don't get used to it. I just think you absolutely said what I was going to say. I just the only thing I do feel a bit bad for him at the moment. I think this is what he needs, and I think this is where we've been really successful because of this. He needs a number 10. He needs a number 10 right now. He needs players that are actually very good in attack because he can't coach everything in this season because we've got 2 games a week. And he's actually done very well with the limited time he's had to get that defense organized and what we saw against PSG. Right?
Yes. So
Regardless
far,
of
so
what you
good.
think about PSG, and again, you're not getting used to this. That Mr. Box Office is being positive about somebody. Like I said, I've got nothing against Frank, and actually, I'm very calm with this guy because everything he says, even though certain things I don't agree with, he explains it very well. Not that the last manager couldn't do it. You see what I'm saying? But I do think he needs a left winger, and I do think he needs a number 10 because Son needs to go. With respect, needed to go, but because we've got nobody other than Kudos, who for me, everyone's again going a little bit over the OTT about him. He looked good, right? But there needs to be a little bit more. You know what I mean? Because our wingers are that bad, we're looking at Kudos as like they've got the ultimate. You know what I mean? And unfortunately, there are better wingers out there than Kudos at the moment. You know what I mean? Kudos is good, right? I'm happy with him. Right? I want
Lot of potential as well.
Yeah, a lot of potential. I wanted him,
but he
right?
is
I've
already
said it on
good.
my show, Mr. Box Office TV. It's there, right? It's there to watch, right? And I'll be clipping things as well to make the bloody point clear. The point is though, yeah, right. It's just that we need proper wingers now. Savinho, good, right? Cool. I still think he needs to improve. I think if we get the winger Savinho from Trivera, I think it'd be perfect. I don't believe we're going to get Eze because for me, Tottenham Hotspur in this dream world thinking that they can get people cheap. Well, I'm sorry, Cunha and Bremo, the player from Bournemouth, are like worth over like 60 million quid, right? You think you're going to get them cheap? Sorry, Tottenham Hotspur just need to get the money down and just pay it. Sorry, that's all that for me. But the defence, the midfield, for me,
it's up front where the problem is, isn't it?
We need players that are able to just get on with it because Frank cannot just coach Bergvall and Archie Gray and all these other players, Alderbear, to beat them world class. And how many? It won't happen overnight. You know what I mean? And especially with 2 games a week, it's just about recovery.
This is where some people need to have a bit of patience, isn't it? And
that's the point.
I do think there's still a big competition out there between we shouldn't have got rid of Ange, we shouldn't have done that. Look, he's gone now, he's fucked off. Let's get on with what we got. And I mean, I'm just not a positive one in the aspect of I see us making 2 transfers of 60 million after we've already bought. I mean, getting Morgan Gibbs-White, if we'd have got him after Kudus, would have been a shock anyway. But I don't see us getting another 2 of 60 million apiece. So, Paul Watkins, thanks for the super chat, mate. Much appreciated. Question. I mean, lads, if Frank gets 3 in now, 2 in January, 4 more next summer, Prem proven, do you think we will compete with the top 4? I think that's quite a solid question, actually. I think that's a fair question. He'll have got more than Ange got in that aspect.
I think if he gets 3 in now, like good players, I think we compete for the top 4 this season.
Okay. I think that's pushing it a bit, but I can see where you're going.
Dan, what big up Alex. No, I think if we were to get a proper left-sided player, proper creative 10, and another striker or an 8, I think we challenge for top 4 on the basis that we can't compete on all 4 fronts, right? I've said this many, many, many times. No Spurs manager has ever competed on all 4 fronts without it being a disaster. You either do. We haven't got a
squad for it.
We've never had a squad for it, which is why no Spurs manager under Enoch and Levy has ever finished top 6 and won a trophy. They've never done it. Ramos, when we won the Carabao Cup, we didn't get top 6. Ange, we won the Europa Cup. We didn't finish top 10. The managers that finish top 6 or top 4, they don't win trophies because you can't juggle both. We've never had the squad. So if we were to crash out the domestic cups and we'd go out of the Champions League early, so from January to May, all we do is focus on the league, and we've signed those 3 players now, why can't we challenge for top 4? There's a lot of variables. Fair enough. There's a lot of variables.
No, but it's a fair point.
I think we can. But if we're still in the Champions League and we're in the FA Cup and we're in the league, I think we end up not doing well at all this season. I think we end up 7th, 8th, no trophies, which is average.
I think our biggest problem this season is going to be the lack of depth.
Yeah, big time.
Like it showed the other day. And I think that will be our biggest problem. But again, I will say then the manager just has to fucking deal with it. That is his job. And that's no disrespect to the manager, whatever else. That's why he gets paid to do his bloody job. And like I said, as long as I see him using the right tactics for a game, like he did the other night, the players giving it everything, and you can see there is improvement there, and you can see we're steadily getting better. I can accept that, even if it's working slow. It's when I see tactics on a pitch that are just absolutely suicidal and just not adapting to any game or anything like that. That is when I get very quick, start asking questions. I think he deserves at least a season. And as long as I'm seeing progression, steady progression, he ain't got to get us up to 3rd, 4th or 5th. Is he going to do it? I don't think so. I don't think we're going to have the players to do it. But as long as I see we're steady, like what Chelsea done basically, where we went like that and then just went downhill. And Chelsea slowly but surely made their way up with Poch. You could see there was improvement being made. You could see he was adjusting. You could see the players were getting the idea. I'm perfectly fine with that. But I don't think he's going to get backed to what he needs. But then he's got to deal with what the cards he's got. And that's one thing I've bigged him up on since before we got him. Well, prove me right then, please, mate. because he's got to adapt to the cards he's got. Whether it's right or wrong, whether it should be like this, shouldn't be like that. We use that saying now that I think he's going to stick with us forever. It's who we are, mate. Deal with it.
Mate, 100%. 100%. Look, at the end of the day, we drew with Newcastle. They're a top 6 rival. We beat Arsenal. They're one of the favourites to win the league. We almost beat PSG, who are the best team in the world. Imagine now we had a banging left winger, a top creative number 10, a striker that can actually put the ball in the back of the net. You're telling me we can't compete? We can. We can compete. We can. I believe we can. When I say compete, I mean for top 4, not for the league. The league, we are way off. We're way off.
If we go and get 3 solid players in there now, I mean, I can't see why we can't win a cup after what was done last year and that. I know it was a bit of a strange one as such, what you would say, but I think any year anyone can win a cup. But at Spurs, it just doesn't seem to go that way most of the time. I think we can have the capability. And just a quick thing, just want to say big thanks, Dean Law, for the super sticker, mate. Much appreciated. Go on, Stel, what are you saying?
The thing with winning a cup, first of all, you've got to be in the position to do it. So you've got to be in a final, okay? When you're there are key moments where decisions define outcomes. And it's too often the case. And this is where the manager can't get caught up in overthinking or not doing the obvious. And I don't know if Frank's got that. I don't. I'm just being honest. I don't. I was taught in a final, do whatever it takes to win it. Right? When I was doing my coaching, I was told, you're in a final, whatever it takes. Whether it's players going down, holding their hamstring to run down the clock and kill the momentum. Whether it's just park the bus. Whether it's having to move a player out of another position because you're getting overloaded on one side and double down on that side. Just spot the obvious and move your chess pieces to counter the obvious. And the obvious thing for me in that final was park the fucking bus. We are 5 minutes away. 5 minutes. That's all it is. You've got a 2-0 lead, and we didn't do it. He didn't do it. And why did Tell need to come on? What for? You got a 2-0 lead. You got a 2-0 lead. You don't need him on the pitch.
I get why he brought Solanke on. I get that, but I must admit the Gray one should never have been on there until he's just fucking useless at the moment.
And it's little things like that. So I think Frank could get us to a final. I think he's got it in him. Can he win it?
Let's hope he learns. And let's hope he learns in that aspect. Only time will tell if it happens, wouldn't it?
Yeah, time will tell. You're right. No, there you're right. Time will tell. Time will tell.
But we've got to get into that position for time to tell in that aspect. And how often do we get in that position? I mean, out of the ones we're meant to be going for, I mean, the question I did also ask, basically, the way we played the other night is the way I've been asking us to play for a bloody long time. And that's played with 5 at the back. I mean, to me, that looked like a 5-2-2-1, basically. Or some would call it a 3-4-2-1. When I've got wing backs, I always call it 5 at the back. It's just there's a different way of putting it. And for 2 years, I've been saying that we should be playing like that.
Dan, it depends on your position. It depends on
I totally get that. And then there's going to be other games where we need to be more attacking, obviously. And this is why I like this manager, because I feel he's got the capability to adapt.
He does adapt. He does adapt. 100%.
And that's where I was going. I mean, the way that defence and team is built more for 5 at the back. We need to improve up at the front, definitely. But I don't see us getting both players that we need up front. I mean, a striker's not going to happen. Not a chance, I don't think. Yes, we need that left wing. Yes, we need that 10. I personally believe if it's one or the other, because usually with Spurs it is one or the other. It shouldn't be, but it usually is. I feel we need a 10 more than a left winger. What would you say? If it's got to be one or the other, it's Eze or Savino, for example, or just whoever. What do we need more? A good 10 or a good left winger?
I actually
if you had a choice of one or the other.
Okay, if it's one of the other.
We need both, I know that.
If it's one or the other, I'd go for the 10 because at least you do have Odebert who has got potential. Odebert can offer us something. And I think out of all the youngsters we've got, I think Odebert's the one that can be developed the most. In fact, I think Bergvall and Odebert are the most developable, have got the most about them where I believe they can develop to be better. Tell for me, I don't want him at the club. I just don't get it.
I've seen nothing off of him.
Dan, it's a waste of money. Gray needs to go on loan. Gray needs time elsewhere, week in, week out, to develop.
On the pitch.
But the player I think we need most is a proper ball-playing 8. We haven't replaced Moussa Dembele, who controls the game of football, dictates the pace. We need a Pirlo, a Tonali. We still don't have that. Bentancur, for me, is not that player. I like Bentancur. He goes missing.
He's a deep line playmaker. That's what he always was. He's a deep line player.
He doesn't control the game of football. Bentancur doesn't control the game of football. Because it's all good and well having these wonderful attackers and wide players. Brilliant. We need them. But you're going to be in games where you just need someone to get on the ball, slow this down. Calm down. And you need someone that can get on the ball and say, right, we need to get this going. This isn't happening. Let me get hold of this game and get us going. That's what you call someone that controls the tempo. Dembele did it. Pirlo used to do it so well. We don't have anyone like that at Spurs. Nobody at Spurs can do that. So I think that's the most important player we need. But I know that's probably going to be the last player we bring in because we've got so many that want to play that position that are all right. Some are better than others, but no one's really, really good at it. No one's really stand out at Spurs in that position.
They're not. And a lot of it does come down to opinion at the end of the day. And just want to say big up to Seven. You're always on here, mate. It's always appreciated for the membership that you've put out. So whoever got that, do say thank you. And thanks a lot, mate, for the super chat, super sticker. It is well appreciated.
Dan,
I think it's just
all right,
I think it's just where everyone sees it different. I mean, I've had other people tell me we need a left winger more. I've had others agree with me that we need a 10 more. I think it's just how you actually read a game. And I personally think we need a 10 more. Because, okay, if we haven't got the left, they're going to focus on Kudus and that. But if we've got Kudus and Savinho on there, but no bloody number 10, who's going to create anything? So I feel we need that 10 more. But it is just a personal opinion.
Well, you need the 10 as well because if you're a good manager and you're playing Tottenham, you're going to watch videos of them play and you're going to analyse how they play. And what you're going to spot is all their attacks come down the wing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shut down the flanks. I'm going to force you inside. Right, I've forced you inside. What you got? Fuck all. That's it. I've shut you down. That's what good managers do. They look at the opposition and they say, right, how do I nullify them? And how do we play to our strengths to capitalise and win at the other end? And when they see that we're all about wingers and wing backs, just shut down the flanks, force everyone in the middle. You ain't got no one in the middle now. I got you. And this is what will happen to us. Whereas if you've got a 10, you're thinking, bollocks. I shut them on the flanks, they go in the middle, but now I've got to deal with him. I shut down the middle, they go to the flanks. This is a tough game today, guys. We're in for a tough one. They've got us from all angles here. So then you got to figure how to stop all of that. Whereas you don't want to make it easy for the opposition. And the more quality you've got in all areas, the harder it is for the opposition to stop you.
It's when you got more option on the pitch, isn't it? It's just without. Like how they used to say to us. They used to see us inverted with the wing backs and pushing up, so they used to just pump it down the flanks all the time. It was easy to control in that aspect, and that's why we desperately need both. But when people have said to me, I've had about 3 people say it, but we will do it because we have to. To me, that's bullshit. Because there's many things Spurs have had to do, and we don't bloody do it. And there's nothing really positive that can show me that we will go and bloody do it, especially with 2 players at 60, 70 million apiece. I just don't see us doing it. And there's, call that being negative on that aspect, but I just don't see that happening. But I feel we need that 10 more than anything, because otherwise we've got absolutely no creativity on that pitch apart from a bit of Porro and a little bit of Bentancur, basically.
If we sign Savinho, I think fans would be like, oh, that's a good player. Right, it's a good player. If we sign Eze, I think fans will be so joyful. I think fans will be so happy. You'll see, it will feel like when we signed Van der Vaart. It will feel like when we signed Klinsmann. It will feel like we've fucking signed a proper player. We've signed a proper footballer here. And I think that's what we desperately need as a fan base, because when's the last time we made a signing like that lifted the club? We haven't. So for me, it's not just that we need a 10, we need a big name. And Eze is a big name in the Premier League right now. So for me,
yes, he is.
We should be going. And Dan, this is why I get angry with this hotel thing. You spent £35 million on this punt, an absolute punt of a player. And we wouldn't be sitting here now negotiating with Crystal Palace over 70 million, 80 million. We'd say, right, we've already got £30 million here because we didn't waste it on Tel. We only need another 40 million here and we're done. But instead, we're looking for 80 million. It's like, shit. Well, why'd you go and waste it on him? It's the same with Archie Gray. Why did we spend £40 million on Gray when that money, and this is a debate we had last year, when that money could have gone on a proven player that was 60 million? All we need is another 20 million.
Less. I mean, what's his name? Who went to Roma? Was it Kuda?
Manacone, brilliant player.
Yeah, we could have got him, and he's on less bloody wages than Archie Gray. That was the argument people made.
He's going to Inter Milan. Top player.
Yeah,
top
I read
player.
about it the other day. We could have got him. That was what frustrated people. And I think some people need to get the picture of this ain't no bloody hate thing of personal people. It's just when you look at your club and you think, well, why the hell did we do that when we could have gone and got established or better? We basically sold Harry Kane for 50 million until.
Oh, Dan, it infuriates me. And then I've got to watch these videos of YouTubers saying how Tel fixes the attack, how Tel fits the system. It's like, stop it. Stop this madness. And it's not just Tel. It's not just Gray. 65 million on Solanke. He's so average. I mean, of all the money to spend on a striker,
I don't rate him.
And then 65 million on Richarlison, and all you ever hear is, oh, but look at his work rate. Look at his work rate. Excuse me, you're a striker. Can you put the ball in the net? I don't care how hard you work.
You don't even really need work rate as a striker, do you? Because for me, there's two players on a pitch that every player needs to be giving it their all, except two players. And for me, that's a striker or a goalkeeper. They could go missing the whole bloody game. But as long as they're there for that split second to save it or put it in the back of the fucking net, that's all you actually care, innit? If your striker sits up there and does nothing the whole bloody game, but puts it in the back of the net at the end, what do you care that he's done nothing during the game? Goalkeeper, basically sitting on his ass on the floor, might as well be. As long as he gets up and saves that shot, you don't care, do you? Whereas everybody else on the pitch needs to be performing. And I do feel we still make a lot of excuses here. I mean, if you're going to talk about players with a work rate and that, then people should be bigging up Richie more.
Listen, I would rather have a lazy player who scores 2 goals a game than have a hard-working player that doesn't score goals. Do you know, Odebert and Tel combined cost us 65 million. There's the money for Savinha. Okay. Done. There's the money for a top baller on the wing. This is what we do at Spurs. This is what we do. We waste the money on average. We then try and claim they're going to be brilliant. There's no evidence to prove it. And then when we're actually going after a really good player, we're struggling to pay the fees because the money's been spent on these bang average players. And Frank, and it's not his fault, right? I'm going to defend Frank here now, big time. He's paying the price for 6 years of utter madness at this club. Complete madness.
I agree.
Just like Ange to some extent paid, not as much the price. Conte paid the price, but Frank is paying the biggest price of all because he's lumbered with so much dross that the club now need to reverse it and get it right. But what's the first thing we did this season, Dan? We re-signed Ben Davies and we spent 35 million on Tel. Like, you've literally fucked Frank on day one. You fucked him. I don't get it. And people, and then I'm not allowed to have a Levy debate because people get upset by it. So I don't know, Dan. I don't know, mate.
I mean, that's the other thing I'll ask you quick because you said you got to go in a minute. Yeah, I mean, there's there's protests tomorrow, yeah? Do you think these protests are going to really show? I mean, the issue I've got with the protest, it's not an issue. I mean, I was at them. I can't get there tomorrow, but there'll be another one. I'll be there when I can.
Yeah.
I just have a feeling that last protest, the relevant one that we was all at,
yeah,
I just feel there was a lot of people there that weren't there for necessarily Levy or Enoch out. They were more there because they were pissed off with how we were 15th, 16th in the league and wanted Ange out. I feel there was a lot of both sides to it. And this is where I think, do you think this next protest or the one after is going to actually show that the amount of Levy out or Enoch out that there actually is compared to what it was Ange out, if you get where I'm coming from?
Well, a lot of people were carrying the yellow Levy out scarves. So I think most people are there because they're Levy out. But I've said it many a time and I'll say it again. I've been going protesting for 6 years. Results drive the protest numbers. If the results are bad, people turn up to protest. If the results are good, people go missing. What we're currently seeing is different because what we're seeing now is the results aren't bad, but we can see the team struggling without signings. And if we had those signings, the results would be better. So I think if change for Tottenham was smart, they wouldn't make this a Levy out protest. They'd make it more back the manager. If it was more back the manager, I think you'd get a lot more people going because there's not one Spurs fan on any channel, whether you're Levy in, Levy out, Frank in, whatever, I don't care. There's not one Spurs fan that isn't saying Frank needs to be backed. He's not being backed. I think we all agree. In fact, everyone agrees that Frank hasn't been backed yet. So if they made it about that, I think you'd get huge numbers.
Do you know what? I think that's... personally, I haven't taken that one into consideration. That hasn't even crossed my mind. Do you know what? Fair play. But I think that's actually a pretty solid point. I think that's actually a very good point. Because I must admit, the way I have looked at this lot a couple of times... I mean, I think it's really good what they've done and the way they've done it. And that maybe one or two times, maybe the protest on the first game of the season, I don't think it may be the best idea. But again, it's just a personal opinion. And the reason I didn't agree with the one before the Europa game is because if it would have gone wrong, the protesters would have just got the blame about it, even though it wouldn't have been their fault. But, you know, people love to throw the blame on that. But if...
The problem is, Dan, it's the transfer window is during the start of the season. That's the problem.
Yes. And if we go and do this protest and then all of a sudden Eze comes in, are some people going to poke up and all of a sudden say, yeah, it's because we got that protest sorted that we done that?
Well, look.
It's just a question. Call it devil's advocate.
No, I get it. The difficulty is this. If you're going to protest, you can't announce it the night before. You need to do it a week in advance, sometimes a month in advance.
I think we got 5 days, didn't we, warning?
Well, the last time was about 2-3 weeks, but you've got to build up the marketing, the publicity.
Yeah.
You've got to,
for this one, about 5 days.
But you've also got to get it signed off with the police. They've got to say, yeah, we authorize it. The club have to be made aware of it. There's a lot of hoops and obstacles to get through. So you've got to pre-plan it. The risk is, though, by pre-planning it, you've got a better chance of getting people turning up. But at the same time, you're leaving a lot of space for something to happen, like winning the Super Cup or Eze signing, to then, hold on, how can you protest now? And that's the risk you take. So they had to go early, otherwise they won't get the numbers. And as it stands now, Dan, we haven't signed anyone. We are going into the first game tomorrow having not signed the players we need. And if we don't beat Burnley and let's say we draw, right? I think we win. But if we draw, you're going to hear the moans and groans, man. You're going to hear a lot of fingers pointed at the board. It's going to happen because this is what we do.
And this is where I feel you're right. And this is what it should be. But I still think there's going to be plenty out there who are going to start pointing the picture at Frank because they still have a fetish for Ange. I do think that is going to be a problem you see all season. Now, I'm one that I'm going to compare all the way through the season.
Everyone can see the attack and the creativity is dead. Everyone can see it's dead. Other than Kudos, what have we got across the front line? And what have we got?
We haven't.
Exactly. I mean, everyone can see it.
We haven't. But I do feel there's going to be a lot making comparison for the wrong reasons, and that's to score points. Whereas I'll be making, I know people are saying, why do you still talk about him and that? Well, going through the season, I'm going to have to talk about him to compare what this manager's doing to what that manager did to see if we are improving. That's what you got to do. You got to look on the past season and compare it to improve. Now, in his second season, I'll compare it to his first season. It'll be nothing to do with Ange then. And so people will still make comparisons for the right reasons, but I feel there's going to be a lot out there that are just, you can already see there's people out there doing it for points. And I think that's going to be a bit of a pain this season as well. Not that it'll bother the manager or players or whatever, like some people seem to think like that a little protest or what we say on here or what I say, toxic, negative, whatever else, and that it has a rub off on the players and that. Well, sorry, if what I say in here is a rub off on the players, then they should fuck off and get another job, basically. Because if they can't handle what I'm saying, then what the fuck are they going to do with 64,000 there? You know, so, but it's true, isn't it? It's true. I mean, what we say on here has a bad effect on the players.
They don't give a shit what we say. They live
of course
a
they
good life.
don't.
They live a good life.
They don't even know about the bloody channels. Cheers for coming on here. Good for seeing you.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Yeah, look, I'll try and come on a bit more now that I'm back and that. So big up in the chat, smash the like, subscribe, all that stuff.
See you later,
and, have a good day. See you later, Dan.
See you later, mate. Take care. Now, if I'm going to be totally honest there, I can't. I mean, and the annoying thing is, I do like a good debate, but I can't really argue much of what Stel said there. There's 1 or 2 points that I did disagree with him on, but I think during that assumption of the match, it was what my mate Dietrich said to me yesterday, and a couple of other mates when I spoke to him on the phone who picked out little bits of it as well. And yeah, I do think he got that decision wrong with bringing Gray on the pitch, but the positives are definitely out there to outweigh the negatives as far as I'm concerned. There was a lot of positive stuff to talk about, but there's a couple of points that you have to pick apart as well, because if you just sit there and you just want to be positive about things in life, okay, that's fine by me. But if you're just going to live on hopium all your life and that's how you get hurt, very much so, yeah. You know, you get hurt in that aspect. And I just feel you need to be really realistic. If you don't look at your problems, not just in football, but if you don't look in your problems in life, how are you ever going to sort them out? How are you ever going to sort the problem out? You can't just put a problem under the pillow and hope that it gets forgot about, basically, because problems don't fix themselves, do they? I wish they bloody did, and then we wouldn't have half as many problems as we do fucking have with it. But we do have the bloody problems. So when people say that some people are being too negative, whatever, yes, I do actually feel there's some people out there like, all right, have a bit of hope, for fuck's sake, yeah. But then I feel there's too many people out there that do so much hope they might as well get jacked up on it, for God's sake. Surprised they're not smiling 24/7. Probably kiss you if you elbow them in the face, if you get one coming from. I'm sure a couple of people will. And so there's two sides to it. If they want to say there's toxic negative, you've got to say there's toxic positive as well. It was a cracking game we had against PSG, and we did fuck it up a bit on the last minute with the subs we made and that. Okay, would it have made a difference? It's an opinion. Nothing more than an opinion, because no one of us can actually say it's a fact that it would have made a big difference. But I can totally see what Stel said. I can totally see what a couple of others have said with it when you assess the game and watch it a few more times, of where maybe he did get a little bit wrong there. But he got so much right in that game. He got the formation right. He got the style right. The players look like they actually give a shit. Whereas, again, I have to go back to what I saw the last 10 games of last season, bar that cup final, even though we was absolutely shocking in it, but Man U was shockingly worse. We didn't even look like we give a shit on the pitch. This is one of the first games in nearly a year that I've seen it that Spurs play, and we actually looked like that when the player got the ball, he knew what he had to do with it. He knew where his teammate was going to be. The way we was playing before, you might as well have put bandanas around their heads and that and just spun them around in a circle, because no one fucking knew where anyone was on the pitch. I don't even think half the players knew what they were meant to do. I think one of the main things for me out of that game, that was PSG we was fucking playing, by the way. And the other part of it is, it was like when we had Conte. You had a lot of fans screaming they've had enough of pragmatic, defensive, boring football, so some call it. Whereas I think playing 5 at the back and direct counter is a very good way to watch and play. It proved it the other night. You can watch some good football like that if we had better people up front. And it was another thing that I said is when Ange came in, he had the easiest job a manager has ever had in football, winning this fan base over. As all he had to do was tell the players, kick the fucking ball forward. Bang, there you go. There's 90% of the fan base on your side. In that aspect, with Frank coming in, he's had the same sort of thing in the aspect of if he now just gets a bit of organisation in this team, he's going to have a lot of the fan base say, thank you. That is what we've wanted for 2 years now. So now we need to see, is Frank going to get backed? Do I think he's going to get backed fully? Sadly, no, I don't. Do I think we will get a player in? Yes, I do. But we are going to have a severe problem with depth this season because, I mean, it already showed in that game. And I think there's going to be a couple of issues. But I think Frank is a good enough manager to adapt with the cards he's got, to play with the cards he's got, adapt to the game like he did the other day. And I think we're going to have a respectable season. But I'm not going to make my judgment on the season as a whole until I see the transfers we've made. And that's when I think most of us can make our real decision on that one. So I'm going to basically end it on that. I'm just seeing who else is on at the moment. If you give me 2 seconds on that, on customization, there we go, redirect. Right, there we go. I'm going to redirect everyone over in a second to Nigel on Pure Coys TV. And just want to say thank you very much for the super chats from Paul, Dean, and Seven. Much appreciated. Thanks, Mia, for coming on. Hopefully see you again soon because I haven't had a good chat with you for a while. And thanks for Alex and thanks for Stel and thanks for everyone for watching. If I'm up early in the morning again, which I probably will be soon, then I'll probably do the morning shows a bit more. Hopefully I can get back into sleeping. I mean, because getting up this early just really, really isn't my sort of thing. But thanks a lot, people. Have a good day. Hope everyone has a great day. And go over, say Hotspur Hood raid on to Nigel. And everyone, please do give him a like. And I'm nearly on 5K. I don't say it very often. Quick like and subscribe will do me a big favour because I'm really pushing to try and get to that 5K. I think I'm about 105 out now. So, everyone, again, have a good day and enjoy the Friday. And let's hope we do something tomorrow. Season starts today as well. See you later, people. Have a good day.